As you can see, the garage is starting to get pretty cluttered. I've got the rear end down now, and did have to do a little bit of cutting on one of the leaf springs. It was kind of stuck, the shackle was stuck, but now I have the rear end completely out. So things are starting to get cluttered and messy because I've got a lot of space taken up here. So what I'm going to do is, up in this corner, build a storage shelf. So that way I can put things up there that I'm not going to get to for a little while, like the doors and the front fenders. Then be able to make a little more space for the engine and transmission and the hood and everything. What I have been doing is, as I take everything off, since my space is limited, I go up through my little attic hole here, up into the attic of my garage. And this is where I've been going up and down carrying all of the parts I've taken off. So like the front bumper, the interior, we've got the seats, got rear bumper, headlights, steering column, panels, trim, all kinds of fun stuff. Over here we have the windshield, we've got the air conditioning and heater box, the dash and gauge assembly and wiring harness. So space is definitely running thin. It'll be nice to get some extra storage. And the other thing I'll be doing is getting some copper tubing so I can make a water separator or for the air compressor, because it is Houston and pretty humid here a lot of the times. Definitely noticing water coming through my hose line, so I'll get that set up, and then I think I'll be running maybe a line across the ceiling above to the I-beam, and maybe drop down air line from the I-beam so I can have a little better access to it, and then maybe do a roll extension cord or something like that from up there too, so I don't have cords all over the floor tripping over while I'm trying to walk around and work on everything. So that is basically a project that is going to take place. Got my nice Plymouth flag up, and that's all there is. Got a lot more work to do on the car. Pretty soon here I'll be also making a rotisserie. I need to get driver's side floor pan, and then some sheet metal to start doing some fixes on the holes in the floor. There's a couple holes in the back wheel wells, get those sealed up, and then some body work on the outside. There's not a ton, a little bit down on the rocker panels. I'll need to do some fixes down here, and then the rear wheel wells. I don't know the best way to do it. Well, actually the best way is probably just to get an entire new panel and then cut this out and put a new one, which is probably what I'm gonna have to do, because there is a nice bump back here and I just don't think that I'll have the skill to fix that, but I might be able to do some touch up on that to make it a bit easier. And once I get some of that sanded down a bit, I'll know more on just how much damage there is and what I'll need to do there. So I still need to get the rear windshield out. Once I get the rear windshield out, the brake lines and fuel lines out from underneath, then I can begin also working on taking off the K-member up front. I'll be redoing this and at least getting the new brake assemblies and do it all with updated parts, so I can have a little more faith in my stopping power. Cool stuff. So I'll be honest, I stole this idea from another YouTuber, from Sam's Garage. He made one of these little loft areas. It'll help get some stuff up off the ground and help keep some storage. So I don't like to do things by the book. So basically what I did up here is I just screwed in a 2x4 to the wall on the back, underneath the one to the wall, screwed one to the wall on the other side. And I found some floor joists for the attic, screwed a 2x4 into that, got a support coming down to hold the corner up. And it is pretty sturdy because it holds my weight, so hopefully it'll hold more than that. About, I don't know, 185, 200 pounds, whatever. And I'll be able to stick some stuff up there, stay a little bit more organized, and hopefully get the garage cleaned up because I've got shite everywhere. Starting to get some things up here in this little mini loft storage shelf. Just a couple tips when you are screwing, and I suggest using screws, maybe 3-inch drywall screws, something nice and long. When you're screwing those into the wall, obviously if you want any kind of weight to be supported up there, you're going to need to hit studs. And typically you're going to find a stud in the corner. So if you go to the corner, most houses, the standard width between studs is 16 inches on center. So if you hit a stud in the corner, measure 16 inches out, and you should hit another one, 16 inches out should hit another one. That, however, is not true in floor joists or ceiling joists up in the attic. Mine happened to be, I think it was 18 or 19 inches on center. So as you can see, I've got a bunch of little holes punched in there because I was trying to find it and missed it the first time. And the second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever. But since my vertical brace did not line up directly with the stud, I took this 2x4 on the ceiling, screwed it into, screwed it into the floor joists, which go long ways this way, and then I could screw my vertical brace into that, so that way I can have weight up there and it'll be fully supported. So I've been trying to take this exhaust pipe off the header, and man, that bolt was rusted on as bad as can be. So as you can see, what I did here is I've got some channel locks and or vice grips, whatever you want to call them. Oh, shitty camera work. Hang on just a second. What I did is took my trusty little Dremel tool and I had stripped this nut out really badly. So if you can see here, what I did is just cut it with the Dremel tool so it'd be flat, and that way I could get those vice grips on there so I could use the impact wrench to spin that nut off. And now that little piece of trash can come right off of there. One less piece to have to worry about undoing later. So obviously that bolt is trash, but it's off. Got a little more done today. Got the rotors and brakes off. They're all up here. I end up selling all this stuff. So if you have any interest and need some 72 satellite brake calipers, rotors, spindles, I'm gonna basically sell that whole thing. But I got those off. Got the fuel lines out and brake lines. And now my wife and I are treating ourselves to a little night kayak fishing and gigging. Gonna go get some flounder, hopefully, try a new spot. And then I can come back to this bad boy another day.